As if the conflict with China and Russia wasn't enough for the US and the rest of the world, North Korea warns the US and says they're ready to act against the United States. I'll give you the details of that here. And China's new foreign minister warns the US as well and defends Russia. It's just like it's almost like it's us against the world. For some reason, Russia, China, and North Korea are all like teaming up. It's like the enemy of your enemy is they're all friends. I don't know, but this seems kind of eerie. You can let me know your thoughts here on this, but check this out. Yeah, so North Korea is warning the United States. The president's sister, who's has has a lot of power here. Check this out. Yeah, the influential sister of North Korea's leader warned us here today that the country is ready to take quick, overwhelming action against the United States and South Korea. A day after the US flew a nuclear capable B 52 bomber in a demonstration of strength against the North. Yeah. Monday's U.S. South Korean training involved a B 52 bomber over the Korean Peninsula, was the latest in a series of drills between the Allies in recent months. The militaries are also prepared to revive their largest field exercises later this month. Now, this is angering North Korea a lot. North Korea warns the U.S. against shooting down their test missiles. Here is the most recent test missile that North Korea just fired here. So take a look at this and you'll see the size of this here. This video will load here. Look at the size of this missile here that North Korea is firing. This is unbelievable. Now, these are nuclear capable missiles.
18日の発射からも、北朝鮮が ICBM 級弾道ミサイルの実用化を追求していることは明らかであり、北朝鮮による一連の行動は、我が国、地域及び国際社会の平和と安全を脅かすものとして断じて容認できません。
So, as you can see here, things are getting pretty heated. And this isn't even with Russia or China, this is with North Korea. And if you look at it by their standards, we're provoking them by doing these drills with South Korea and basically encroaching on their territory. And also remember here that this is kind of what Russia thinks. But Russia thinks this because we basically didn't let them just overtake Ukraine, which by all means is a completely different story. I mean, Russia's just literally just invading another country and bombing them and, shooting missiles at apartments. And I mean, by all means, it's just a completely different story. Now, North Korea, I mean, by all means, they have their own problems and stuff, but I mean, you could kind of see maybe both sides of the story here. If it's not one thing, it's another, right? So one of these things here, it's like the United States is trying to show, like, their force, their might here, show their strength, their backbone. But on the other hand, we don't want to provoke something either. You could see the criticisms of like Biden saying, "Oh, if Biden provokes something, you could see him being people saying, "Oh, he provoked this war." But on the other hand, you can see people saying, "Oh, Biden doesn't have a backbone." It's just like this is why I would never want the job of president because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's just like you tell me. I don't know. It's just who would want that job, right? It's just a nightmare. Meanwhile, China's new foreign minister is warning us as well and defending Russia. And remember, they're basically just repeating everything that the Chinese president is telling them to say in the Chinese government. Take a listen here.
China's foreign minister says there will surely be conflict and confrontation if the US does not hit the brakes. He suggested the recent balloon crisis could have been avoided, and he also echoed accusations from the Chinese president saying the US is trying to contain China's development. These comments came on the sidelines of China's National People's Congress, a key annual political event. And CNN's Christy Lou Stout is tracking this for us. She joins us live from Hong Kong. Good to see you, Christy. So tensions escalating again between China and the US. What more are you learning about this?
Yeah, well, today on the sidelines of the National People's Congress in Beijing, we heard from China's relatively new foreign minister, Qin Gang, and amid this rising tension between China and the U.S., Qin Gang had some pretty stern words. He accused the United States of plotting to create an Asia-Pacific version of NATO that could risk a repeat of a Ukraine-like crisis breaking out in the region. And he also had this warning directed squarely at the U.S. Take a listen to this.
If the United States does not hit the brake but continue to speed down the wrong path, no amount of guardrails can prevent derailing, and there will surely be conflict and confrontation.
Now, in regards to Ukraine, China's new foreign minister said that peace talks should take place as soon as possible. He also added that China has not sold any weapons to either side. In regards to Taiwan, he said China should not be underestimated, that Taiwan was a matter for the Chinese people, and that China would work towards a, quote, peaceful reunification. Now, further underscoring this deepening rift between China, the U.S., and its allies, we heard also from Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Monday, who directly accused the U.S. and its allies of containment. He made these remarks, let's bring it up for you, made these remarks at a business meeting speaking to Chinese entrepreneurs. And the Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, said this, quote, the U.S.-led Western countries have implemented all-round containment, envelopment, and suppression against us, which has brought unprecedented severe challenges to China's development. Now, this rift between the U.S. and China is deepening over a host of issues. There was the balloon incident, U.S. military support to Taiwan, Ukraine as well. And on top of all that, an issue of access to technology like semiconductors, chips, and artificial intelligence.
So it's kind of almost amazing how you can see how the U.S. and China almost feel like complete enemies, but yet the amount of trade that the US and China does is enormous. Yeah, it's kind of strange if you think about this here, and the economic properties that we have. It's like the amount of it's almost like we're the biggest business partners between the two of us, but yet we hate each other's guts. Think about that. Yeah. And you would think that we would be on better terms because of that. But it's almost like we're like the biggest like frenemies, the biggest like mortal enemies. But yet it's like, hey, let's do, trillions of dollars in business. It's very strange. Now, Russia, on the other hand, we almost do no business with Russia, especially now with the war. We were doing a little bit with them before, with just buying just a little bit of oil from them. But it's a very different story here with China. If we were to get into like a Cold War situation with them and not to buy any of their goods, the U.S., I mean, think about when we had the run on toilet paper. Not being able to buy goods from China would be very drastic for us. And people don't even kind of realize this, but I don't even know what would happen to the U.S. economy. We've just become so reliant on things being manufactured overseas. I don't even think we have the manufacturing capability in the short term to cover it. I just think that we would have mass outages and panic shopping. And remember the panic shopping when we had just toilet paper? Imagine that for like half of Walmart, or like basically like all of Walmart except for food, you know? Just imagine all your Walmarts being empty except for like food that's made here in the US, because the majority of it is, right? And because perishable food doesn't come from China, right? It would be insane. It would be insane. People would be flocking to the stores to stock up on everything, and it would all be gone. And then if we had an import restriction from China where we just said, okay, we're not going to have any more imports coming in from China, because that's all it would take, a presidential order or a congressional order, either one of those. Congress says shut it off, or the president says shut it off, or either or both, and then it's all done. It's all done. What a time that would be, right? In fact, hold on a second here. All right, I brought Laurel in here. I want to know your opinion. What do you think would happen if the U.S., if Congress or the president said no more imports from China, no more goods from China, no more nothing from China?
I think that would really, really hurt our economy, because prices for a lot of our goods would skyrocket, because unfortunately we rely on China for a lot of our goods. I think majority of items that don't include grocery are produced overseas, because sadly we're a country that wants everything for as low a price as we can get it, and businesses want to make as high a profit as they can, as we've seen with Norfolk Southern.
And in all fairness, remember that 2/3 of all Americans are already living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So think about if now all of a sudden they have to start manufacturing stuff in America, and it's 50% more or double the price.
Right. So
how are people going to even afford that stuff?
No, yeah. So, I mean, majority of things are manufactured overseas, because even though the freight or shipping alone.
And how do we know this?
We know this because of our business.
Our Amazon business.
Right, our Amazon business.
Yeah.
I mean, shipping is extremely expensive, but even so, it's still much cheaper to have things manufactured overseas, because the labor is cheaper. I mean, people over here, Americans, won't work for
less than $15 an
the
hour.
money that people in China will, or in Asia, or India.
And who knows what they're making over there? $2 an hour? I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to equate it and all that stuff. But I mean, you got to think that like Walmart and Amazon, their average rates now are $15, $16 an hour based on all the articles we've seen. That's just what their CEOs are saying their average rates are. We see the signs, right? Target hiring at $15 an hour and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, American made is a wonderful ideal to strive for, but it's just not. It's not something that's plausible nowadays, because it's just too expensive to pay.
Just for like
people.
Regular everyday stuff. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of comments in the comment section. I'm going to get a lot of people to say, we need to make everything in the U.S.
It would be wonderful if we could. I mean, I would
if
love
it
to do
was the same price or close to it.
But if we made everything or most things in the U.S., we would all be paying 2-3 times the price as a consumer
And we
for
know-
the same good.
And we know this because when we had products manufactured for our Amazon business where we sold various different, all sorts of different stuff, and we were trying to compete with other people selling similar products, the choice was get it made in China,
Right.
or literally our price would be way more money to have it made in the US. But honestly, truth be told, finding manufacturers to even make these type of things in the US, very difficult,
Yeah.
or not even existent.
And it's,
You couldn't even find it.
yeah.
On the other hand, to find it in China, how easy was
Oh
it?
my God. There's
You
hundreds.
go on Alibaba, which is a billion-dollar corporation website. It's
Marketplace.
It's like the Amazon for manufacturers.
Yes.
And they're mostly Chinese, but they have some other countries in there as
Yeah.
well. And you literally you type in something like lamp maker.
Yeah.
You want to make a custom lamp and sell it here in the US. Type it in there, boom, you find like 100 corporations
Yeah.
making lamps in China.
And even for another example, all you have to do is watch 1-2 episodes of Shark Tank, and it's just entrepreneur after entrepreneur after entrepreneur. They all manufacture overseas. Once in a blue moon, you'll see somebody who's very proud to be American made, and
what do they say? They're
four out of 5 of the sharks want them to produce it overseas because they can get it for a lower price and then make a higher profit.
Yeah,
margin.
and honestly, a lot of times on Shark Tank, what will they say? They'll say, if they're saying they're manufactured here in the U.S., they'll say, "What's your cost?" And they'll be like, "Oh, $70 is my cost," and they're selling it for $299 or something.
Yeah.
And then the sharks will say, "Oh my God, your price is so high.
Yeah.
How can you get it lower?"
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's just the reality of things.
And then they're saying, "Oh, well, how many people are going to buy something for $299? That's a very high price point. If you could get it down lower to $99 or something,
it'd be more attainable."
and they're
for
saying,
people
"Oh,
to
well,
buy.
we'd have to go to China for that. And we're proud to be made in the U.S." But the problem is that they're pricing themselves out of the market.
And it's a lovely ideal, but it's just it's a very difficult ideal to attain.
And the problem is like if you're selling a lamp and everybody else's lamps are
$50
and your lamp is $150, you're just in a way different category. But the problem is we're not even talking about lamps. You're just talking about household goods at Walmart.
Yeah.
You're talking about cleaning supplies. Who's kidding who? People go down the aisle for cleaning supplies, and they're most of the time just choosing one of the
especially nowadays.
One of the cheapest options. 2/3 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So when your cleaning supplies are $2.99 or whatever they are, right?
Especially when there's no noticeable difference, no reason to pay.
It's just this brand versus that brand. Oh, I like this brand. It's $2.99, $2.99, $2.99, or $2.49 or $3.99, whatever, right? Let's just say $2.99. If all of a sudden all those products get made in the U.S. because there's an import ban, and they go from $2.99 to $5.99, and every single product you start buying is made in the USA, but they're just cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
And your cleaning supplies, I mean, you might think they might be made better because in the U.S., but the reality of it is it's just a cleaning supply. You're using it on your dishes, and boom, it's gone. It's still used the same amount. You still go through it.
It still gets the job done the exact same way.
You still, or your laundry detergent, you still put it in there, and it's still used the same amount. You still run out of it in the same time span. You know what I'm saying? But it doubled your grocery bill.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Americans can't afford it. 2/3 of Americans are already living paycheck to paycheck. People on Social Security, people on SSI, people on SSDI. All these people cannot afford to pay double the price. They just literally can't. I mean, we're talking about laundry detergent. We're talking about mops. We're talking about cleaning supplies. We're talking about every shoes. We're talking about sandals. I mean, everything you can think of.
Look at how bad people's credit card debt is and money situation is just with the inflation right now alone.
And the interest rates.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine how bad it would be if
and the other thing
we couldn't purchase goods from China.
And the other thing I was talking about right before you came on was the bare shelves.
Oh.
because I was
Yeah.
talking about, remember when we had to run on toilet paper?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how bad it would be if nothing from China could get imported.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have the suppliers or infrastructure right now to even take over for the goods that come from China.
That's the one of the main problems.
Yeah.
So
Just like the chip shortage, right? The
absolutely.
electrical chips?
Yeah, and absolutely. And remember what they had to do to even get chips manufactured here in the US? They had to pass a $250 billion bill that went straight to our national deficit. Remember, they're all concerned about the national deficit now.
Mm-hmm.
And it went right to the national deficit. And they had to give that money to hugely profitable corporations like Intel and NVIDIA. They had to give them billions of dollars just for them to make plants here in the US so that they would actually manufacture chips here in the US.
One of which I think is going to be in Ohio.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's what they had. Congress had to do that
Yeah.
just for them to manufacture chips in the U.S. And it's going to take years for all
Yeah.
that to like get done here.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen overnight.
No,
And that's just one thing. That's just computer chips. It's one tiny fraction of the puzzle.
I know.
Imagine if everything got cut out overnight because
It
they
would
say
cripple our economy. We would be completely
people don't
crippled.
even realize how bad it would be.
It would be terrible. I mean,
Like
imagine all the electronics.
imagine cell phones and computers.
Oh yeah,
There were just, you wouldn't be able to
all
order
from
them.
overseas.
iPhones, iPads, cell phones,
All
just
from overseas.
they'd all be. Now Apple, I've seen is starting.
Toys, mostly all toys is from over
Oh
there.
yeah, toys for Christmas
Plastics
gone. You wouldn't be able to get them.
Yeah. I feel like majority of all goods that are not grocery is from overseas.
Yeah, absolutely. I seen that Apple's trying to switch over some plants into
India, I think.
out of China.
Yeah.
But then I read it's like less than like 5% of their
Yeah.
manufacturing capacity. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Apple sees the writing on the wall, but still, it's less than 5%.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, 1 out of 20 people would be able to get an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
just the way it is, man.
so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. We'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon after you subscribe, and don't forget to smash the like button for us. It helps out our channel. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here's some good news for millions of Americans and Social Security and Medicare news. Here is a disturbing message about government lockdowns. My wife thought it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.